As runners, we all challenge ourselves in ways we never thought possible, pushing the boundaries of what we're capable of to smash through targets and set ourselves new, bigger and better ones.
This awesome hobby that we share gives us one thing in common, and it brings us together as a community. Whether you're working towards completing your first parkrun or you're a veteran of the sport who's run 100 ultra marathons, we all know the feeling of reaching that maxed out effort and our own red line.
Welcome to our podcast, where your hosts Brett Elesmore and Andy Maguire discuss the struggles, the successes and everything in between on our running journeys, as we all work towards the next time we're running the red line. Hello and welcome to episode 27 of Running the Red Line. I am your host Brett, and I am here bright and early again with my co-host, as always, Andy. How you doing this week, mate?
Yeah, good. More handy Andy this week. Put up another TV.
Excellent.
This week.
How many TVs do you need?
We've got about. Well, we look like our house looks like an old Dixon's. Do you remember Dixon's walking down the way?
Or a Tandy?
Yeah. So yeah, we've just got TVs on the wall, but no, we've got one in the bedroom now, which is good. We were gonna not have TV in the bedroom, but we just.
Oh, you can't.
That just sums up our marriage. We have to have. We have to have a TV in the bedroom. I mean, we'd actually have to talk to each other then. So no, we've compromised on a TV. But yeah, all good. It's been a warm week, hasn't it? It's been
it's been nice.
3 or 4 days of 30 degrees this week. So I'm sure we're all moaning, going it's too hot, but it will soon be drizzly and 7 degrees.
Yeah, I know. I'm enjoying this weather while we've got it.
Yeah,
and
it's actually weirdly quite unique to train in it, isn't it? Because you feel like you're in a Portuguese training camp, don't you? So I actually quite like training in the hot weather.
Yeah. Also, because it's been so sunny over the last couple of months, and obviously I wear a headband on every run. I don't know if you can see, but I've got a real nice.
There she is. Yeah.
Nice tan line right across the top of my head.
It's a beauty.
Yeah. That's always good.
I'm repping Obi-Wan today because
you are indeed. Thank you, mate.
I'm a bit of a riff, really. Is that a Bromsgrove from Redditch word? A riff? When was the last time you called someone a riff?
a long time ago, but I knew exactly what you meant as soon as you said it. I was like, yeah,
I'm a bit smelly because I went out for a run this morning. A bit riffy, yeah. I went out for a run this morning. Laura and I did a trail run, and I normally hate every time, right? I get ready to go out the house. Laura loves trying to match what I wear, and I hate it. I don't know why. I hate to look at it, but she loves it, and I don't like it. But I reached for this first thing this morning, which is the Obi-Wan Run Club tee, and it's your signature design, which you don't have to go into because I'm sure you've patented it, because I've never seen anything like this. The closest I can sort of describe it is, it looks like almost like tiger stripes that are sort of like etched into the tee, so you don't have to go into of how you make it, but I know it's a very unique process. But I've gone for the mint green one, which I'm a big fan of, and so did Laura. She put hers on because she's got exactly the same t-shirt but the women's version. And so someone even made a comment this morning saying, "Oh, you two look like twins." I was like, that's exactly what I didn't want to happen.
Amazing.
So we like to keep it in the family here in Worcester. So but yeah, so I'm still in my running kit, and Friday off to a good start.
So you've have you had a shower, or have you just got home and you're still sweaty? And
I'm still sweaty. Because I got home, and because it's really glorious weather at the moment. We keep having barbecue breakfasts. So
Nice.
anything we make, we're putting onto the barbecue to like char grill. Like yesterday, for example, we had a bacon wrap, but instead of just eating it out of the air fryer, I put the bacon on the barbecue, and then I put the wrap. We put the bacon in the wrap, and then char grill the wrap, and it just made it so much more
Yes.
summery and so much better. This morning, Laura made like an egg omelette, a really, really eggy omelette with cheese, loads of cheese,
Hang on,
folded it.
hold on. A
A
really,
really,
really eggy omelette.
well,
What
that's,
else would you make an
yeah,
omelette out of?
yeah, there's not really many things you can make it. But I can't really describe it. It's just really, really. She makes them really nice and really eggy, really eggy. But not. She hasn't over egged the pudding. It's really good.
Okay, yeah,
And
excellent. Carry on.
we
Sorry.
folded it like a calzone, and then it went on the barbecue.
Oh, nice,
So that was
nice.
that was quite good as well. So it was a nice,
Is it?
super eggy.
It can't be a proper coal barbecue because you'd be setting that up every morning. It's got to be a gas barbecue, right?
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
a while ago, I got over myself, and I bought a gas barbecue, and it's the best one of the best decisions I've ever made. I love a coal barbecue. Don't get me wrong. I love the taste of food that comes off a coal barbecue because you could say you can just tell the difference, can't you?
Yeah.
Because it tastes more earthy, I guess.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just ready within seconds. No more smoky, like, no more like plumes of smoke or ash clouds or anything going up above your head and waiting 45 minutes for it to all get to temperature. It's just
Yeah.
ready. It's there. It's good to go. And yeah, one of the best decisions ever made, getting a gas barbecue. So
Okay.
yeah, have you got what barbecue have you got?
I've just got a coal barbecue, but it's a like a fold away one that I put in my bus. So if I ever go camping, I can just pull it out and use it there as well.
Oh, right, fair enough. That
But
sounds pretty dreamy, to be fair.
what I have got to go with it is I've got a pizza oven that sits on top of your barbecue.
Oh, that's next level. How often
So
does that get used?
well,
Are you quite good at making the old dough and?
not a huge amount. I do like having a go at making pizza and stuff, but it's just the fact that it takes so long to set up and everything because it's basically a pizza stone inside like a pizza oven metal container
Yeah,
that you put on the barbecue, and it heats up the pizza stone and the air within it, so it cooks
nice.
like a proper pizza oven. But you've got to set up the barbecue, and because it's a coal barbecue, it takes ages. And then you've got
Yeah,
to
yeah,
put the pizza oven on top, and then that takes ages to heat up.
yeah,
And if it's not the right temperature, it cooks too quick, and if it's not the right temperature, it takes ages. So
yeah.
it's that fine line to get it perfect.
Yeah, that's the thing I remember with coal barbecues as well. That if you've got loads of food to cook and you don't put any more coal on it, you start to lose the hot spots, don't you? And you have to sort of chase the hot spots around the barbecue, and
Yeah,
then it starts cooling down.
yeah,
So there is a
and
science behind coal barbecuing.
yeah, and sometimes when you've got it just right, and then you put meat on there, and the juices go into the coals, and then all of a sudden flames start, and then it cooks all the outside of the meat, and the inside's raw.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Just how we like it. That's how I like my chicken, medium rare. So yeah, but yeah, we've got a lot to talk about this week, haven't we? Because
We have indeed.
it's
We,
been
we
the
are
stuff.
we are recording early in the morning because um it's not because of either one of us this week, so we haven't got anything on, but there is some exciting stuff happening tonight, so we both wanted to have our full attention on it.
Yeah,
And
so
it's
yeah, you go, you go. I'm so excited to
sorry,
talk about it. You go,
yeah,
you go,
yeah,
you go.
and it is because the athletics has started in the Olympics.
Yes,
It's the
finally.
first day of the athletics, so we are going to watch tonight the women's 800 meters heats, which is going to be exciting because we've got our three girls. Yeah, so
Was Keely? Yeah.
Keely Hodgkinson, Gemma Reekie, and Phoebe Gill. Phoebe Gill, but just incredible. I think she's only 17, but
Wow.
she's flying this year. So it's really exciting because we could have 3 Brits in the final. So fingers crossed.
Amazing.
And then after that, at about 9 o'clock tonight, it's the 10,000 meters final. And
That's
our
mad.
our
How it's
GB
final
hope.
already.
Wait, there's no heats, is there? It's just one race with the 10,000 meters.
It's criminal that it's not got more of a hype and a build-up. It should be late.
Yeah.
It should be this time next week at least, really,
Yeah.
for a big race like that. But yeah.
But because it's a long race, they don't want to have heats because obviously you're running for 30 minutes and then you don't want to have a day off and then run for another 30 minutes, do you?
No.
It's a bit easier with the shorter races. But
yeah,
our GB hope in that is Paddy Diva, I think. So he's our only guy in the 10,000 meters. So we'll watch out for him. But yeah, it should be exciting.
Yeah.
But we have started a little bit later than we were going to, just because we wanted to watch the first 1,500 meters heats, which was a good watch for the first 2 heats. And then BBC, for some unknown reason, decided to go to the diving instead of the 3rd heat.
And it was Ingebrigtsen's race as well.
Exactly. I know. It's mental. I cannot understand why they did that.
At least we didn't miss Josh Kerr's heat, but a little bit, very frustrating, really, because you could argue Ingebrigtsen is one of the greatest athletes at the Olympics at the moment.
Yep.
And we've all, not seen his first heat, because you just want to see what they're like in their first heat and their first outing, don't you? You want to just sort of see how they're looking and how they, how they race. And I was a bit disappointed, really. But I mean, I think they did it because the boys that are diving at the moment in this synchronized diving, I think, is a final. And I think the boys that we've got in is it Laffer? Is it Jack Lauer? Is that his name? Say his name. He's one of them, and he's in a silver medal position as we were watching. So it's probably all done and dusted now. So I don't know how he's got on. But yes, what we were going to say is we've got a new feature for the next 3 weeks, which is called our Olympic picks. So we're gonna just sort of take a little look at what we've been watching at the Olympics this week, and good, bad, ugly, and everything in between. And we're going to try and give you our 3 sort of highlights. I mean, there will be honourable mentions of other things that have happened, because let's face it, a lot has already happened. I've really enjoyed this first week of the Olympics. Have you?
Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Considering it's been all the, well, let's be honest, crap events. Well, no, not the crap events, but like the clay pigeon shooting, that wasn't the most riveting thing to watch. The judo, I'm not big on that, but like there have been some, like the swimming has been pretty intense. I've really enjoyed that. The BMX, the BMX racing. Did you watch that last night?
I didn't watch the racing. No, I didn't see that. I saw the BMX park where our guy won silver.
That was amazing as well.
Impressive. Obviously, as I said last week, the skateboarding was something I was looking forward to. So watching the park skateboarding was the women's the first day, and then the men's the next day. They had to postpone it slightly because they had all the rain and the park was soaked. So they put the men's back a day. But man, that was mental.
I feel bad now saying judo and shooting is crap, because it's not. It's pretty cool. If you're at the Olympics doing anything, then you are a master of your craft. And there is an amazing amount of training, precision, dedication that goes into every event. And it's just idiots like me that only like high octane things like the 100 meters or the 4x100 meter relay. That only chavs like me will be like, oh, I'm watching that, so I like it. Have you seen all the memes this week about, watching, the women's synchronized diving and just thinking that you're an expert because you've been watching it for the last 20 minutes?
But that's like any sport, isn't it?
Sport.
You watch it and you go, oh, what are they doing? But you'd be nowhere near them.
You don't have a clue what they're even doing. But we've got a lot to talk about, I guess. Other things, we've both obviously got our week of training. One of us has been racing on the, go into that just yet. One of us has been racing this week. And we've also got some comments and emails to get through.
Yes.
And you'll all be pleased to know there is no bonus feature from me this week. There is no riddle me this. Riddle me this has been axed due to popular demand. There is no riddle me this. You finished with a score of 3 out of 5, I think, didn't you?
Yeah, I think I did. Yeah. So
maybe I will bring it back one day.
Amazing. Okay, cool.
But for now, it has gone. It has made we'll bid it good riddance because they're either too hard or too easy. So maybe that will come back one day.
Yeah.
But yeah, so where do you want to start? Do you want to sort of start with our week of training, or do you want to start with anything else?
Just quickly before we go to anything, because it's not going to be one of our top 3 when we talk about it, but just what's happened in the 1500 meter heats. So,
yes.
Obviously, in the first heat, we had Josh Kerr going, and he sat at the back and just played it cool for the first. Well, I was going to say 2.5 laps, but it's not 2.5 laps; it's 2 3/4 laps. And then on the last lap, looked comfortable as ever and ran a 52 point something in the last lap.
He just looks so.
I think it was 52, may have been 54, but yeah, he just looked on top form. And as I said to you, next to his time had a SB for season's best, because that is his season's best time, because it's the first time he's run a 1500 meters this year, which is brilliant.
That's amazing.
Yeah, because at the British Champs, he dropped down to the 800 meters, which I reckon he was doing to try and get some of that speed in his legs. So if Jakob does try to take it out a bit quicker, Josh can keep up with him. And then the other races he's done, he did the mile at the Diamond League. So he's not actually done a 1500 meters this year. So, but he's looking in great form. So that'll be good. Yared Naguse from America, he looks like he was struggling a bit. But
did he come in 5th or 6th in the end?
Yeah, 5th or 6th in the first heat, which was surprising because he's one of the top contenders, but he looks like he was struggling. He hasn't looked great on his last couple of races, so I don't know whether he's burnt out from the rest of the season or not, or I don't know. He may be saving himself, but he did look like he was struggling.
What a bad time to burn out.
I know, yeah.
You know, because when were the World Champs?
The World Champs were last year.
So it was the Diamond League recently, wasn't it? That was where Keely Hodgkinson ran that.
Yes.
Was it a world record or a British record? I can't remember.
It was British record, but and it might have been a European record, but it was a world lead, so fastest time this year.
So that's that's the thing with being an Olympian, I guess, is you're always on that edge, aren't you? Of like, the Olympics are probably your holy grail, but you're also, why would you hold yourself back in, say, the Diamond League because of something that's coming up in a month's time? Because you want to go hard now, and if you're feeling good, why not? But the risk is, it's risk versus reward, isn't it? It's always risk versus reward.
But one of the reasons Naguse might be feeling it a little bit is because the American Championships, so the American qualifiers are so tough. It's basically a mini Olympics. So you've got to race some of the best people in the world just to get onto the team. So it's not like you can hold back during the American Champs. So he's had to race really hard to get on the team, and then he's come to the Olympics, and so we'll see. Fingers crossed he can pick it back up and do well. But but in the first heat, the shock for me was Ollie Hoare going out, the Aussie guy. So he was out injured last year. He had what did he have? He had a fracture. I think he had a stress fracture in his pubic bone. Right. So that put him out for a long time, and he was having to do swimming and stuff to try and get back up to fitness. But now he's back running, and he's been running really well recently. He won the Emsley Car Mile at the London Diamond League.
Yeah.
So he's been getting back up to form. But yeah, I think he came 13th in that first heat.
So like you always say every podcast, a mile is 100 meters further than a 1500, pretty much.
It's 109 meters.
There you go. Yeah. Okay. So it's 4
further than
laps
15.
and 9 meters.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So yeah, we'll see, because there is a repechage. So hopefully all the people who didn't automatically qualify, I think, will go into the repechage. Repechage. I don't know how you say it properly. What's the proper pronunciation?
I don't know. I think you sounded very Francais when you said it first.
Anyway, they'll go into that to have another chance to get through to the semis, and then there'll be the semis and then the final. But then the second heat, our British guy was George Mills, which I don't know if you know, Andy, but that is Danny Mills' son.
The footballer.
Yeah,
the footballer.
So Danny Mills, the footballer. George Mills is his son.
Yeah, Danny Mills, famous Leeds United player.
Yeah.
He played for England for a while as well, Danny Mills.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay. Right. Yeah.
But George Mills is also running in the 5,000 meters.
Right.
So,
okay.
I don't know whether he will push it hard in the repechage and try to get through to the final, or whether now he'll just take it easy and focus on the 5,000. But I don't know. We'll see.
I'm not familiar with what a repechage is. What is it? Is it like for the fastest losers, or is it for the?
Well, so the way that qualifying used to work is you'd have automatic qualifiers. So in these heats, there's 6 people who automatically qualify. So first 6 people across the line, they go through to the semis.
Yeah.
And the way it used to work is you would then have fastest losers. So then the next few fastest across the heats would then go through to the semis as well. But there was a lot of complaints that if you were the last heat to go and you saw how quick the first 2 heats were, if you pushed it a bit quicker, so you beat the time of the first 2 heats who had taken it easy, all of the fastest losers then came from that last heat. So it was unfair because they had an advantage to know what the time they needed to get through on fastest loser. So to stop that happening, they've basically put in another race. So the top 6 from each heat go through, and then they'll have a repechage race where I think the top 6 from that race will go through to the semis as well.
And
so basically,
everyone who hasn't qualified for the final.
Yeah. So basically, if you don't come in the top 6, you go through to the repechage, and you've got an extra race to do. So even though it gives you another chance to get through to the semis, you've got another race.
Yeah.
So you've got extra to do. So it doesn't make it so it's harder than the fastest loser thing, but it's more of a honest, equal chance.
Yeah, it's a fair way of doing it, I guess. Because rather than here's the qualifying time, anyone that's above it qualifies for the final, it's a position-based thing. With to make it
so
fair.
It's all to do with racing rather than times.
Yeah,
which I think is fair.
Because I have no track experience, but when I hear Steve Cram and commentators talking about a slow field or a slow race, I always think half a second or a second slower. It doesn't sound very slow to me, but these hundredths of a seconds are massive, aren't they?
Yeah.
And if the person in front is deliberately keeping the pace slow, there could be a reason for that. And then, so it's tactical, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what I was going to say. The difference between like the Diamond League races and things like that, which have got pacers, and then the Olympics and World Champs when there is no pacers, is in the Diamond League, people are going for times. they're going for those fast times. That's what they want to do. So they'll have a pacer and they'll have the wave lights on the inside of the track to know what speed they're going and what they're chasing for time-wise. But when it comes to the Olympics, it's a race. So it's all about tactics. So it's up to the people in the race. Do they want to go out a bit slower and take it easy for the first what is it? Hang on. For the first 1,100 meters, they want to take it easy, and then in the last 400 kick and do and it'd be a race to the finish. Or do they want to take it out fast from the start and then possibly blow up and then fall back at the end? It all comes down to tactics. So it could be that it's a really fast final, but it could be that it's quite a slow final as well. So all of those heats today were quite slow for what all of the people who were running are capable of. So I think Josh Kerr won in 3:35, and I think the second heat was 3:35, and the third heat was 3:36. So that's a pretty slow time for what we're used to seeing now from the Diamond League races, because they're being won. If you're not doing under 3:30, you're probably not going to win. So, but what's crazy is there have been Olympics in the past where 3:35 would win you the Olympics because it's been such a tactical race, and they've waited until those last 200 meters and then kicked, and it's been a sprint to the finish rather than being a 1,500 meter race. So it's interesting to see where it goes this year and what the tactics are. But
and that could be one of the reasons why I guess a lot of world records don't always happen at the Olympics, because
exactly that.
Just because it's the pinnacle of sporting achievement for so many people doesn't mean that's when you'll run your fastest, or throw your fastest hammer or whatever.
You notice that in the Olympics, you'll notice that the sprints, a lot of the time there is really fast times or world records or Olympic records and things like that, because in a sprint it's such a short race. If you don't put 100% into it, you might not win. Whereas in the longer races, in the middle distance races, it's all about tactics and sometimes it's all about who's got the best kick at the end rather than who can run 1,500 meters the fastest.
That makes sense. I must say I've been enjoying as well watching the swimming more than ever this year, and I've got, again, like track, well, even less than track, I've got no experience in the pool. But how must it feel if you're on your own, let's say in lane 4 as the favourite, or lane 5, or in the middle of the field, and you're only breathing out of one side and you can't see anyone on your left? Do you come up for air and change your tactics and breathe the other side just to have a cheeky look to see where you are? Or do you just swim your own race and just go as fast as you can? I've actually found the swimming so fascinating this year. I've really, really genuinely enjoyed it. And do you know what my favorite race that I've seen is the medley, where they'll do 2 lengths butterfly, 2 breaststroke, 2 backstroke, 2 crawl. Because I was listening to the pundits talking, it was Mark Foster and Becky Adlington saying, even if these swimmers are top tier swimmers, and unless they're Michael Phelps or monsters like him, most mere mortals will, even if they're top swimmers, will have one stroke that they struggle with. Which I've found really, really interesting. So like you're watching these swimmers like go off like a rocket on the butterfly, but then when it comes to the breaststroke, they're getting caught, and then they kick with their crawl. And I just really, really find the whole thing really interesting. But yeah, shall we talk about some of our 3 favorites?
Oh yeah, let's just go straight into that. Yeah, why not?
Our Olympic picks. So
yes,
do you want to kick us off, or shall I reel off my 3?
I'll go first. So my first pick is the skateboarding park. It was just incredible. So when I used to skateboard back in the day, me and my mates, we used to watch all of the skate videos and all sorts of stuff. And there's in every skate video, there's what's called an ender, and it's the final trick of the video where everybody just goes, "Whoa, that is incredible!" And those ender tricks from when I used to skateboard and we used to all just be blown away by are the tricks they're now doing in the middle of a 45-second run.
Wow.
So they're pulling out these tricks as if it's nothing and
Right.
doing it as part of their 10 tricks that they do. It's just incredible. But the skateboarding was changed this year, and the way that it worked with the points and how they worked out who got the medals. So they all had 2 runs, and then the best score from their 2 runs went towards their total. So the runs were scored out of 100. So they had 2 different attempts at it. So there was a possibility that they could fall off in one run and then they'd still get a good score. But there's a possibility as well that they could fall off in both runs and then they'd go through with a poor score. And then after that, they had 5 attempts at their best trick, and the top 2 scores from the best trick went through to their total, and they were scored out of 100 as well. So the total that they could score was out of 300, but it was off 1 of their runs and 2 of their best tricks. So it was all about consistency as well as who could do the best stuff.
Yeah.
So like there was one guy from Canada who messed up on both of his runs. So he went through with a really poor score from his run, but then busted out some amazing best tricks. And if he'd have got a really good run score, or he'd have got a decent run score, he would have gone away with a medal because his best tricks were so good. But because he didn't quite get those runs right, and so it was just really interesting to watch. And then the 2 American guys are just consistent as hell. The Japanese guys were crazy consistent as well. But it went through to the very last trick of the run. So the 2 Americans were in first and second, and there was a Japanese guy in third and fourth. And the guy who was in fourth on his last trick pulled out a crazy like 360 blunt slide on a rail down a set of stairs, and it was crazy. And that pushed him straight up to gold. Just that one trick.
Is it like the risk factor is so high that sort of like the way it works? It's because it's with skateboard, and I guess it's got to be quite risky.
Yes, but it's also to do with technical ability. So how technically hard the trick is, but also how ballsy the trick is and how crazy the trick is, and all of that mixed in together.
So is the park almost like a stereotypical skate park with half pipes and stuff, or is it quite urban, like you say, with handrails down like staircases and things?
The park skating, so there's street skating and park skating. So they're slightly different. So the park skating, which is to come, is in like a bowl. So it's basically like a half pipe, but there's transitions everywhere. So you can just go everywhere. And then there's a box in the middle, which has transitions. So they can do tricks over the box and then back up to the side of the bowl and everything.
Yeah.
But the street section has got quarter pipes either end and flat banks. And then in the middle, you've got like a section which has got a big slope with handrails and hubber rails down it. So a hubber rail is like as if it was a concrete block down the side of a set of stairs. And then the handrails are obviously like a handrail down the middle of a set of stairs. And then there's a driveway as well, which has got rails and flat bank ramps to go over.
Yeah,
wow. So there's loads of different things that they can do tricks on. So yeah, it's quite different disciplines, the two, because the street skating is all about the technical tricks and everything, whereas the park skating can be very much about the aerial tricks So like the twists and turns and the flip tricks and catching it and putting it under your feet again before you go back into the transition. So it's very much more about air and those technical things, whereas the street skating is more about the flip tricks and things like that.
Okay, cool. Right.
But
awesome.
and also the women's was crazy as well. And I think like the top 3 or 4 that won the women's were all about 14. They're just so good. They're crazy.
Wow.
Incredible. It's next level how good they are. It really is.
I wonder if part of the reason skaters are so good so young are 2 things. First of all, a practical thing, like they might have rubber bones, like we don't seem to have as we're getting a bit older. And 2, I wonder if they've got more of a fearless kind of mentality, like they could just they're not phased by.
I think it's a bit of both. Because when you're younger, you haven't got the fear of what we have when we're older. We like anything I do now, I worry about, am I going to break something? Whereas when you're a kid, you don't care. You just throw yourself down, whatever, and hope for the best. And also, we don't bounce like we used to. When you're young, you fall off, you hit the floor, you bounce back up, and you're off again. Whereas now, you fall off and you're on the floor for half an hour just going.
Did you have any pretty bad falls when you were skating, like back in the day? Did you break anything or?
I never broke anything as such, but I almost broke my ankle several times. One time I proper did my ankle and had to sit on my skateboard and push myself home.
Is that like quite?
I couldn't walk on it.
Is it quite common then as a skater to be injured quite badly? Quite a lot. Yeah. You go down your average skate park and there's always someone that has just broke the collarbone or their elbow or like they've dislocated the shoulder or something. I imagine.
First aid at skate parks, first aid are on hand at all times. But most of the time you're just out in the middle of the street and you could break or anything anywhere. But I've hurt myself quite a lot through the years. Is one of the reasons when I started running I had glass ankles. And that's I think that's why I tore my ligaments so bad in my ankle like a few years back, because my ankle was so weak from skateboarding.
Interesting. Yeah.
But what's your first pick?
Well, I might leave that one till last. No, I'll do it at first. The opening ceremony. So that's my first Olympic pick. I thought it was weird.
Is this a good, bad, or ugly pick?
I think it's a bad one, personally. Now, I don't want to sound all nationalist, you know, sound all Farage, but we did it so good. The London 2012 opening ceremony was maybe the best of all time. I really genuinely, and I think the main reason for it is it was contained. It was all within the Olympic Stadium, or most of it was.
Yeah. Well, Danny Boyle knew what he was doing, didn't he? Danny Boyle knew how to put on a good show.
We've got we've got a Hollywood director in charge. And this, I mean, fair enough, they've been different and they've been very stylish, as you would imagine the French to be. But the whole thing was so Parisian. It was like an art installation. But I feel like you needed to sit at home to watch it. I just couldn't, and I wondered if it was a plan B installation as well, because the weather was dreadful on that night. But I just couldn't help but think about the people that had probably spent life and limb to watch the opening ceremony, get a ticket in the main stand by the Trocadero opposite the Eiffel Tower, probably paid hundreds and hundreds of euros and pounds to get there. And then finally got a ticket. And then it turns out that they hardly had any entertainment to watch, because the only thing that was in front of them all night, as far as I knew, was Zinedine Zidane walking up with the torch, passed it on to someone else who I didn't really know who that was. And
did he headbutt them as he gave it?
Yeah, he headbutted it. He headbutted it. Yeah, yeah. He headbutted them, and then they just cracked on somewhere else, and then they sort of obviously as the torch gets passed, it got passed somewhere near the Louvre. I don't exactly know where it was, and then they sent the balloon up, which did look amazing. Don't get me wrong, but it was just so. It was like it didn't need an audience to be there. I just thought the whole thing was a bit bizarre and not unnecessary, but I don't know. It was just, I don't know. For me, I just, maybe I'm sounding really British and a bit faragey, but I just didn't really, faragey.
Yeah.
That's a good word, isn't it? But I didn't really like the style of it. But yeah, I'd give it a 5 out of 10, I think, because there were some things that looked amazing. Like they had this like horse that was galloping on the Seine that was looked amazing, and they had this. What did they have that I really like? I love that the igniting of the Olympic flame that looked amazing at the end. There were just so many iconic landmarks as well. The light show on the Eiffel Tower afterwards was amazing. But yeah, I just thought it was a bit like they obviously chose the landmarks and Paris over the people and the stadium.
Yeah.
They obviously chose to entertain the world rather than the people that were watching, I guess.
Yeah.
And they chose that over the atmosphere of the thing. So yeah. But anyway, that was how they chose to do it. But yeah,
it was quite interesting because I'm going to hold my hands up and say I missed the opening ceremony and I haven't had time to catch up on it, but I have seen bits and bobs online and things like that. But
you didn't miss much.
I saw bits and bobs of all of the athletes on the boats just getting absolutely soaked.
Yeah, and that was another thing. The flag bearers, if I was an Olympian, that would be the pinnacle of my career, holding the flag, walking into that stadium, announcing your country to the world, to that stadium, getting your lap of honor before you've even started, especially if you're a small country that's only got 12 Olympians like Vanuatu or St. Vincent and the Grenadines, one of those really small nations. But they just turned up on a boat, and half of them I didn't see. And I felt like saying, how much are you charging each Olympic committee for this boat? Because I bet you that's not cheap. And I just thought, and they're all got soaked anyway, but I'm sure they all each country had a good time. But again, I thought that was a bit odd.
Yeah. See, that's the other strange thing, because in the Olympic ceremony, like opening ceremony, normally when they march in with the flag bearers, then all of the athletes are together and they can mix and everything. But if they're all segregated on each individual boat, they're not mixing the same, and it's a bit.
And a big part of it is they're all in their traditional dress. You can see what they're all wearing. Like if it's a country that we're, maybe not familiar with, or a culture that we're not familiar with, that's them owning and saying to the world, look, here we are, we're Uganda or we're Turkmenistan or whoever where we are. And you just couldn't get a flavor of each country because they're just another boat. And it's like, it was pitch black as well. So I wasn't as you can hear, wasn't the biggest fan of the opening ceremony. So that was my first pick.
One thing I did hear about, though, I haven't seen it myself, but I did hear somebody talking about it the other day, and it was the American team coming in on the boat, and apparently Serena Williams is on there, and she's smiling and waving when she thinks the cameras are on her, and as soon as she thinks the cameras aren't on her anymore, she's going she's seasick. And which is brilliant. I'm gonna have to try and find a video of it because it sounds hilarious. And she's like, as soon as she thinks that no one's looking, she's then fully trying to hold down her seasickness.
Yeah, because I think was she on the same boat as Carl Lewis? There was a few of them on the same boat, and I wonder if that was their boat. But I imagine going down the Seine in bad weather, in the dark, on a speedboat is not going to be it's not going to be smooth sailing. So
brilliant.
Yeah. What's your what I was going to say? What's your second?
My second, I am going to go for Alex Yee in the triathlon. What
Fantastic.
a performance! Incredible.
Amazing. What a bloke.
Yeah, I think he was 15 seconds behind on the last lap, and
Yeah.
then just timed it to absolute perfection because they set off together, didn't they? On the running section of the triathlon.
Him and the Kiwi guy.
Yeah, so they set off
Yeah.
together, and he just let him go. And like people, like even the commentators were saying, "Oh, he's pulling away. Obviously, Alex Yee is fading, and blah 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 blah." But he just timed it to perfection. He knew that
Because
he'd got a kick at the end.
from the aerials, every time they'd show you on the helicopter view, you'd see the Kiwi guy out in front. I think his name is it Hayden Wild? I think maybe something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah.
And then it would show you Yee back in second, and I was thinking, God, if that was me, I wouldn't fancy my chances because that gap looked to be about 100 meters or so. It looked to be at its furthest. It was quite a
yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, okay, they've gone round for their fourth lap now, and he's still a couple of 100 meters behind, and they've got to it. And all I'm thinking is, well, this athlete, this New Zealand guy, is obviously gonna probably do this last lap his quickest. So not only is that Alex Yee gonna have to do it his quickest, he's actually gonna have to make up those 15 seconds as well. So he's gonna have to do like a 2-minute kilometer or something like that. But
Yeah, just incredible. The way, the way he did it, and when he decided to kick and catch him up and pass him just before he turned into the finish straight was just what an incredible watch. It was amazing to watch.
Because I don't know if you noticed, but it was almost as if the camera started panning away to who was coming third and the French guys who were battling out for third and fourth. And then they panned back to the leaders, and Alex Yee was coming up on him. He sort of like, you didn't even see him close the gap. It's like, I think he kicked on as Hayden Wild started bonking at the same time. So like,
yeah.
The gap went from like 15 seconds to like no seconds within, a split second. So it was I do think that the Kiwi guy did run out of steam a little bit.
Yeah.
But obviously you could see Alex Yee doing a superb close to that last lap, that especially that final 400 meters. It was rapid, wasn't it?
Yeah. But I think Alex Yee used to be a runner before he got into triathlon. So he used to focus on the running. And then got into triathlon and started doing the swimming and cycling. So it's obviously his strongest discipline because he's got some crazy times for 5K and 10K when he's just doing those. So yeah, he knew that it was his strong element of the triathlon and used it to his advantage.
Yeah, and his swim, I didn't, because I only turned the triathlon on during the cycle. So I didn't realize that apparently he didn't have a very strong swim, did he? He wasn't.
No, not amazing swim, but he was still up there, but not amazing in the swim. But then he got into the lead pack on the bikes, which helped him.
Yeah, he was. I wonder if for a lot of athletes they find the swimming the hardest. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, because
that's the thing. If you look at a lot of swimmers, they're not really slight like runners are. So if you look at all the runners on the on the athletics track, they're tiny, thin little things, and most of the time really tall. And you look at swimmers, and they're completely different because they're quite muscly and quite built.
Yeah.
And that's one of the problems with the swimming in the triathlon is you don't. You don't float very well if you're very skinny. So swimming is a lot harder as a slight, small person. So in the triathlon, it's that trying to find that fine line between still being able to cycle and run really well and being a small framed person, but then not being too small so you can't swim.
Yeah, and I guess if you're heavier and bulkier and more muscular, the swim and the cycle will be your events.
Yeah.
But then if you're more slight, if you've got a good kick,
Yeah.
you can overtake so many people on if you've got the stamina and the the good cardio to and if you can back yourself to finish strong, then yeah, I totally see how that science makes sense. But that's what makes it so exciting, because it's three really different systems of operating back to back, and you're getting slowly, well, not even slowly, every step or stroke you take or cycle of the pedals, you're getting more and more tired. So it's an amazing hats off to any triathletes, because it looks so tiring.
Yeah. And I think we've also got to give a shout out to Beth Potter, our GB in the women's, who came in bronze position. And she's only just recently taken up triathlon. So she was a runner as well. I think she used to be a British 10,000 meter champ.
Okay.
So yeah, she's recently got into triathlon and then goes and wins a bronze at the Olympics. So
wow,
amazing work.
Did they? Because again, I didn't actually turn the TV on until the cycling. But did they run? Did they swim in the river in the end? Because it was delayed, wasn't it? Because of bad what do you call it, levels?
Yeah. There was it wasn't clean enough, basically. The bacteria in there. But lots of people were saying it was to do with the protests, but apparently it was to do with the rain on the opening ceremony night. It washed all the crap into the river.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that would curtail any river's plans, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Well, my second pick was going to be similar. We won a gold in the cross-country cycling a couple of days before that. And it was a guy called Tom Pidcock. Now, the reason that I've picked him is because, again, the climax of that race was amazing, because the cross-country cycling was laps of like a country park. And it was pretty hardcore, like some of the rocks. And I mean, again, I don't cycle, so I can't really comment. But it looked hard. It looked difficult. It looked like a very technical course. And one of the main reasons I loved it was because he was 30 seconds behind at one stage or more.
Yeah. I think about 35 seconds. Yeah, he was down.
Because he'd had a puncture, hadn't he?
Yeah, and had a puncture. And I think they brought the wrong wheel out for him. So then that delayed him even more. And then they brought the right one, swapped it, and then he was off again. But yeah, he was about 35 seconds down.
I don't know if you've seen the footage, but it's incredible. Talk about seeing your moment or grasping an opportunity of a split second and taking it. This takes it to the next level. So imagine, if you haven't seen it, our British guy, this Tom Pidcock, is on the tail of the leader. Now, the leader has been in the lead, I think, for almost the entire of the however many laps there were. I think it was 10 laps. So he's been in the lead for like an hour and 20 minutes or an hour and 15 minutes, like no one near him, I don't think. And then all of a sudden, he's got this British guy behind him. And then with about, I don't know, a minute, maybe 2 minutes to go, there's a section of trees. And the French guy took a line around the trees. And Tom Pidcock, I don't know how he did it, took a line through, it looked like through a gap, through the trees. And the line he took made the French guy, sort of startled him. And he sort of looked in shock, as if to say, where did you come from?
Yeah.
And you can almost see the French guy. It looks like he tries to ram him off. It looks like I don't know if he's correcting his, his line, but it looks like he kind of tries to, I don't know if there was contact or not.
They were very close to contact. Basically, there was two routes around the tree. So there was two lanes that they could go down, and they both went down opposite ones. And then when it went back into one lane, obviously they almost collided.
Yeah.
And Tom Pidcock did the right thing and just carried on his line, but that then stopped the French guy going as fast, and he had to slow down and lost a bit of speed. And also his foot came off his pedal, so the French guy then had to get his foot back on his pedals to try and catch up.
Because I guess it's a little bit like Formula One. There are only certain passing places, or the maneuvers you have to take have to be very calculated.
Yeah.
Because otherwise you'll either get a penalty or you'll cause yourself an injury, or So the maneuver to overtake was so amazingly executed, and then he just charged through and he got the gold, and he got booed as he crossed the finish line, and it was triumphant. I was sat at home going, "Go on, son! Go on, son!"
He was screaming going across the line. He'd just won the Olympics, and the whole crowd were booing him.
Again. Yeah, like, oh god, So that was a moment magnifique. So I absolutely love that. So yeah, Tom Pidcock for the gold. Cross country cycling was my second pick. I really enjoyed that one.
Brilliant. My third one. Now I'm going to go for. I've got a couple of honourable mentions, but my my third one's going to be the guy from Turkey in the pistol shooting, who is just incredible. So in the shooting, there's been loads of people. They're wearing ear defenders. They look like you with those headphones on. So they're wearing ear defenders. They've got specialized glasses on that have got filters on, so it blocks out certain lights and certain variabilities. They've got like aiming things on their glasses so they can see what they're doing.
They look like FBI agents in training on the shooting range. Yeah.
And they're all shooting and everything. And then this guy from Turkey just rocks up in a Turkey t-shirt, his just normal spectacles, and one hand in his pocket, and just shoots an almost perfect round and gets silver. Just incredible. Wow. So no ear defenders, no specialized equipment or anything, just a pistol and his glasses.
Yeah, because he's on that thing you sent me on the Olympics Instagram page, and I think it says the icons that we didn't know that we needed. And there's also a picture of I think she's a Korean shooter, and she looks like so cool. She looks like, and she's just got this sort of almost like just this look of just like a marks woman, I guess you'd call her. And she just looks like a trained assassin. They look amazing.
There we go. So I've just found it.
There they are. Look. So yeah, go and follow the Olympics on Instagram, and you'll see the split screen picture from of the Turkey guy with his hand in his pocket, and then the lady who was shooting. If you scroll across, there's some really cool images of the shooters. But yeah, some of the comments you said were pretty funny.
Yeah, like people are saying Turkey basically sent a trained assassin, and it made sure he only got silver so his cover wasn't blown. which is brilliant.
Hand in his pocket and winning silver. Yeah, brilliant. But my third pick was from the women's rowing. So I think it was could be I don't really know the difference of the names of the boats. I think, was it the schools? But basically, it was four of them, and I've got their names here. It was Georgie Brayshaw, Lola Anderson, Lauren Henry, and Hannah Scott. Now they won gold the other day, and the reason that I want to mention these is because of the interview that one of the girls did afterwards, which was amazing. So Lola Anderson was one of the crew, and she was obviously a big part of the team. And it says here, he would be very proud. Tearful GB rower pays tribute to late father with Olympic gold. So here it is. The gold medal winning British rower Lola Anderson paid tribute to the faith shown by her father after a remarkable last stroke victory for the women's quadruple sculls crew. By the way, they won it by inches.
Yeah.
They won it the difference of a breath of a stroke. It was incredible the way that they won it. And they'd come out of nowhere again, these girls, to win it. So really well done. But Lola Anderson was visibly emotional as she recalled her journey to the podium. A major part being when her father, Don, handed her a note 7 years after she'd written it during London 2012. Back then, as a teenager, she had put in words the dream of rowing for Great Britain and winning a gold medal, but she chucked it away. She discarded it for fear of appearing arrogant. I threw that away because I didn't believe, Anderson said of a piece of paper her father, a rower himself, retrieved and returned to her shortly before he died in 2019. I was 14 at the time, so why would I believe? Young girls struggle a bit to see themselves as strong, athletic individuals, but that's changing now. My dad saw it before I did. My potential would not have been unlocked without the girls I crossed the line with, and he would be very proud today. It's a piece of paper, but it's the most valuable thing that I have, maybe jointly with this medal. It's safe in a tin with all my dad's old medals in my bedroom. So that was particularly poignant for me because, like,
that's incredible.
Yeah, it was like, it's been like 14 years to the day, like yesterday, since like my dad died as well. And it was like, it's just amazing to see the faith that he saw in his daughter, who just said literally a throwaway comment. And she said she wanted to do it and she's done it. And incredible work. So really well done to the girls, but particularly Lola Anderson. I really enjoyed her interview and it was a really emotional watch. So yeah. But yeah, the Olympics have been off to a good start, and I've really enjoyed this week, genuinely, and I'm ready for more this week.
Yeah. Have you got any honourable mentions?
Honourable mentions. I can't think off the top of my head now. Oh yes, Adam Peaty. I love that guy. Yes. What I like about him was confirmed, diagnosed. Confirmed to have COVID the day after his final, and he came second, which the race he should have won. And in his race, when he's being interviewed, he said, I was just 1% off, 2% off. But what I love about him was he made no excuses, zero excuses. And he was tipped to win the race, should have won it maybe, but he didn't. But what I really like about his interview, he was honest. And yeah, he just didn't say, I was a bit poorly, I was a bit ill. And it turned out the day after he had COVID. And apparently he's racing again this week, maybe even tonight. But yeah, massive respect to him because he's he shouldn't, I wouldn't say he shouldn't have been at these games, but a couple of years ago, he'd almost written off this Olympic dream, saying that he'd never wanted to see another swimming pool again because he's had his own mental health struggles and physical struggles as well. To have come back and to have won a silver, he was over the moon with, and he did. The BBC showed him with his little lad. I think he's called George. Was he called George? Little curly-haired blonde kid, and yeah, just really emotional thing watching him dedicating his swim to his boy and stuff like that. And yeah, I love the fact that he just got on with it. He wasn't feeling his best, and he just didn't make any excuses. So yeah, Adam Peaty.
Yeah, amazing. My I've got a couple of honourable mentions which just made me chuckle. Is the first one is the absolute baller in the 20k race walk, guy from Ecuador who won it, which incredible anyway. But what stood out for me when I saw a picture of him at the finish was he was wearing a pair of Takumi Sen 10s for his race walk, but he was wearing the Y3 version. So not any old Takumi Sens, which are what are they? 160 quid normal price. These are the Y3 ones, which are 350 quid. So they're
nice.
like the high end designer Takumi Sens, which I thought was great. So yeah,
nice.
Rather than just wearing a standard pair, I might as well wear the best ones that I could get. And then the other honourable mention is Snoop Dogg has been a highlight of the Olympics,
Yes.
as he always is. But I don't know if you've noticed that each country has got a special pin badge, so they can trade with each other and try and collect all the different countries' pin badges. And because of this, Snoop has made his own pin badge for the Olympics. I don't know if you've seen this.
I haven't seen it.
You haven't seen it.
I'm Googling it now.
I'm going to show you a picture from the Eurosport account, and it's a pin badge of Snoop Dogg next to the Eiffel Tower, and he's blowing out smoke rings.
Smoke rings. Olympic smoke rings. That is the most Snoop Dogg thing I've ever seen.
Which is incredible. I just found that hilarious.
And is that a one of a kind?
No, I don't know. But Coco Gauff, one of the American Olympians, she put up a picture of it saying, "I've claimed the Snoop Dogg pin."
That is so cool. That is wicked. Now, these Olympic pins, by the way, I didn't realize how big they were, but obviously Andy Murray has officially retired last night because he lost in his quarterfinal against the USA. So he played his last ever match of tennis. Did you see his tweet, by the way, after he retired? He obviously bidded farewell because it's last ever match. He tweeted a few minutes later, "I didn't like tennis anyway."
Brilliant.
But he's addicted to trading and collecting Olympic pins.
He wants to try and get all of the countries, doesn't he?
Yeah. So they asked him on the BBC, like, "What are you going to do tonight? Are you going to celebrate?" And he's like, "Well, I've got 4 kids, so I never really have time to like have a lie-in or anything." So he said he's just going to go back to the Olympic Village and just try and get some pins. That's what he said he's going to do. So
amazing. But so that is the Olympics. It is off to a flying start. I've been enjoying it so far, and I am proper looking forward to it now that the athletics have started.
And GB have made a really good start, haven't we?
Yeah, we have. Yeah,
we're really doing. We seem to be collecting medals like really well. We're decently high up the table, aren't we? So shall we talk about our running, because we haven't mentioned it yet?
Yes, let's go for it. You go through your week.
Right. Okay. So last time we spoke, I said that on the Saturday, I was going to go for a Parkrun PB attempt.
You were going for
which I did.
Oh man, I couldn't get the top off my bottle then.
Did you manage it?
Yeah, I was just grimacing at the camera.
Oh, sorry, I wasn't even looking.
Well, I was trying to pull the top up on my bottle.
So I did. I went down to Wales, to Chepstow, and I did the 7 Bridge Parkrun. Now I knew a little bit about it beforehand. I knew. Have you ever driven over the M48, the old, what we call the old 7 Bridge, not the new one?
I must have. But...
I have before, and I didn't realise how much of an incline it is. It really, like, I'll show you before I let you know how I got on. I'll show you the incline. It's like it's quite hilly, and we all know that I'm not very good at hills, especially when you're putting effort in to get up hills. And it doesn't elevation, when you look at your overall elevation, it never tells the whole story about how hilly or what the course was like. But the overall elevation was 48 meters. Now, if I told you that 48 meters was all within the first 2K, like, that's the rest of it's downhill. So I knew that coming in. I knew that it was hard up and then hopefully have enough in the tank to get down. So that's what I knew I was going to do. So I said to you, we said this time last week that I was going to try and sort of take it easy the first half, second half, gun it to 88, try and be like Marty McFly, try and hit that clock tower at 88 mile an hour, and try and go as fast as I could down the hill. I'm I don't think I've. Well, yes, I have. Of course, I have. I was going to say I've never really bunked in a 5K, but I definitely bunked on this one because I even tried to deliberately take it easy as well. But that just shows to me how not where I want to be. That just shows you where that shows me where I am, if you know what I mean. Because 5K PB attempts are hard anyway.
Yeah.
But getting to halfway and thinking it's already gone. I know it's already gone is not the best feeling. But I chose the course that I chose. I knew it wasn't going to be an easy course, but I did it anyway. So bear in mind, PB pace for me would have been, I'm going to talk in Ks for a minute, which should be for me 4:07 per kilometer. So I went out on my first K at 4:13 with a bit of an elevation, with a bit of a hill. The second hill is where it kicked up a gear, the second kilometer, and I did a 4:28. So I knew the game had already gone. And then by the time I turned round and was coming back home, my third kilometer had ticked over at 4:18. So by now, my average pace was around about 4:16, something like that. So I was probably on for about a 21.5 minute 5K. But then 4 and 5, I did a 4:03 and a 4:02.
Excellent.
So managed to just pick up the pace. But what I noticed was as I was going downhill, I was saying to myself, just stride, just try and just keep a good cadence up and try and keep it consistent. But I just couldn't go as fast as I wanted to go. I was looking at my watch and I felt like I wanted to tap it and say, it's not working properly. I'm going faster than this. I know I am. But even though I'd got all that gravity assist, I just couldn't go any quicker. And I was going at a 20-minute 5K pace, which is 4 minutes a K, which I was quite happy with, really, considering I'd felt like I'd bonked. But I managed to get in the end in 21 minutes and 14 seconds. So not disastrous because it was about 30 seconds. My PB's 20:37. And considering that was in the height of marathon training last year for Manchester, and I'm not anywhere near that at the moment. I can't just do one track session and turn up to do a 5K and think I deserve a PB because it doesn't work like that. But really good tempo session, really good 5K attempt, and I was pleased that I didn't come in slower than 10K pace because that's what I wanted to avoid. I wanted to come in I knew I'd come in somewhere close to 10K pace, but I wanted to be faster. So I finished with a Strava time anyway, 21:14, which is an average of 4:12 or 4:13 per kilometer.
Nice.
And average heart rate 175, if that can be believed, because I wear wristband, so I don't know if it's very accurate or not. But yes, I was maxing out. I was seriously running the red line when I was closing that. But yeah, so 21:14, and looking forward to. I'm not doing a 5K tomorrow because I'm working a wedding tomorrow in Warwick, so I can't parkrun tomorrow. So next week I'll be going again. Haven't chosen a venue, but I'm going to be going again. But Sunday I did a sort of explory around the local route, almost like an easy pace.
Yeah,
which I did.
I suppose you're having to find all new directions and find out how long certain loops are from the new place, so you can work out different length runs, aren't you?
Yeah, I got home, actually. I've just really realized this. I got home and I did a 10K that day, or a 9K, and that was an easy pace. And that was an elevation of 100 meters, which is like 300 feet. So that was another not flat run. But I think moving to this new place where it's a lot hillier than in the middle of Worcester by the river, I think it will really benefit me. And I think I've just got to get over the fact that now I'm going to have to stop chasing pace, and I'm going to have to start working to effort a little bit more. Because on Sunday, I did a 10 miler, and I did, the elevation was 270 meters, which is 700 foot in it. That was quite a lot. And I did 16K, which is 10 miles, hour and a half, hour and 33 minutes. Average pace 5:46, which is about 9 minute miling, maybe 9 minute 15, something like that. So about a 4 hour marathon sort of pace. So it was quite a nice plod. I wore my Asics Nova Blasts. So yeah, just quite nice to explore some new places. On the 28th of July, did a no, I didn't. I did a walk, did another walk the day after, and then I didn't run again until the 30th, which was I think Wednesday. So I think I must have had Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off for some reason. Maybe it's the hot weather. I don't know. I did a 6K, and I found another new route, which is a lot less hillier than the ones I've been running. And then I went to track last night, which was fun. Met the usual faces. I met Ben and Mac down there, and did a quick warm up, which was 3 laps of the track, which was nice and easy. And then the session was 3x600 at zone 4, which coach basically said was 10k pace.
Yeah,
60 seconds off, and then 2 400s at zone 5, 5k pace, 60-second rest. So no float laps like there was last week. And I really struggled.
Was there 60 seconds in between the 600s and the 400s as well?
Yeah. And he said
And how many sets was that?
3 sets.
And in between sets, was it just 60 seconds again?
Yeah, 60 seconds. So he said, which I thought was quite a good thing to say. He said, just think about quality. He said, it's going to feel harder tonight because at 7 o'clock at night on Wednesday, it was 27 degrees still. It was so humid. It was like a sauna.
Yeah.
And he said, it's not an opinion. He said, it is just harder. It's just harder. So you'll find your heart rate going a bit higher. You'll find yourself just finding this harder because it's just hard. So he said, just think about quality. That's all he said. Just think about the quality of the session. So I took from that, if I have to take a little bit more recovery, I will. I just want to make my efforts consistent. And I did exactly that. So I did 60 seconds just purely because of my OCD. I didn't want to do a 600 lap and then walk or jog, recover 60 seconds and realize that I'm still 50 meters short of the doing a circuit perfect lap. So I finished my 600 or my 400, and then I just turned back on myself. I did a little recovery walk, and I made sure I did recovery walks, didn't do any recovery runs. And then I did the sets, and I did that every time until the last set of the 400s. So on the last 2 400s, I treated myself to 220 seconds off and did the hardest. I treated myself to 2 minutes off, and I did the hardest 400s of the day, which I was quite pleased with because I was running in my head, I thought, right, if we've got anything second set, we'll progress, and then we'll progress again on the third set, maybe 3 to 5 seconds quicker. No, absolutely not. It was not happening. Yeah. And I was not the fastest run I've ever done. I just was consistent across the board. So, for example, I'll just read out my paces rather than my lap times. So the first 600 was 4:25 a k, second was 4:21, third was 4:14, fourth was they're my 600s. My faster 400s were 3:53 a k and then 4:03 a k. Bear in mind, sub 25k pace is 4 minutes a k. Second set 4:17, 4:20, so slightly quicker, and then 3:59, 4:02 for the 400s, and then for the final set 4:22, 4:17, 4:26. I'm feeling it by now, and then the final two was a 1:38 400, which is 4:03, and the final lap was 1:32, which was a 3:48 a k. So I got my hang
on, so
my graph.
So the last 400. Oh, nice. So last 400s, what did you say? 1:38 and a 1:32.
Yeah.
So a 98 and a 92. Nice, man. Yeah, that's at the end of a session on a hot day. That's good, man.
Yeah, and I really found it hard because there was no float 400s like last week, and that was good recovery last week, and it was like on off on off on off. You know, even the 600s. I mean, this is no surprise because it was designed to be hard, but even the 600s were hard because of the weather and everything. And 10k pace, let's face it, is not a comfortable pace.
No, it's hard.
But what I was questioning was, why is this feeling so hard? Because it's only 600 meters. But I just thought, well, I'm going on off my heart rate. You know, I'm constantly changing the effort. But it does sort of make you feel a little bit, I don't know, makes you question yourself a little bit when you look at your watch and you think, oh God, that's not very good. I can't even run 600 meters at 10k pace.
Yeah, but you shouldn't be doing that. You should be going off effort. And did that feel hard enough for what you would expect? And because temperature of weather, all sorts of things are going to affect the way that you're running, and whether you've rested into the session or whether you're coming off quite a high mileage or some other efforts and things like that. You've got to take all of that into consideration.
Yeah, but it was good because I looked at my, I looked at the effort, like on the heart rate afterwards, and like we were saying, it was spike, trough, peak, trough, peak, trough, and it was slowly drifting as well. So you could see I was working harder as the session was going, and I'm glad that because I really wanted to quit, that second set. And I'm quickly learning that track is not a happy. It's not a happy place to be for an hour. Nope. It's not a. I mean, you can treat it how you want. Of course, you can treat it as a social thing, but the way I'm choosing to do it is I'm going there to work hard, and it's not a pleasant hour, is it? It's it's hard.
But that's how you get the progress and the quality from it, is by pushing yourself through these things. So at those moments when you don't want to do it, by pushing yourself and getting round, that then puts into your head that mentality of, I can push through this. So when it comes to race day, you can put that into your psyche of, oh, I felt this pain before, but I've still managed to push through and finish, so I can do that again.
Yeah. So it was, and I know it will I hope it will, excuse me, come into fruition on race day, that all this work on the track will help my top end stuff, because I don't do a hell of a lot of top end stuff like on the road at the moment, and haven't done for months really. So I'm hoping that I'll see, in 5Ks and 10Ks and things to come, that I'll see it.
As I've said to you, give it a couple of months and you'll really start to see the improvements from doing that stuff on the track. It will really start to show in what you're doing and what you're able to do. Yeah.
And then I'm just going to quickly read an email out that we've had to do with track.
Go on then.
But Thursday and Friday, which was yesterday and today, I just did 2 recovery runs. Or recovery yesterday, easy run this morning with Laura. We went for a trail, which was nice. And that's pretty much my 6 days of running. So I've done 7 days, the last 7 days. So I've done 4 or 5 runs. So feeling all right. So this is from Chris and Kaylee, aka those 2 runners. They've got a YouTube channel, really nice, really good channel. And for those of you that love your park runs, I would strongly urge you to subscribe, if you haven't done already, to those 2 runners. It's they do a lot of park runs, and they're based in the northeast. I'm pretty sure they're Mackhams. I'm pretty sure they're from Sunderland. Yes, I know they are, because they probably felt like Tom Pidcock, because they did a Parkrun in Newcastle a few weeks ago, and they said they were tourists from Sunderland, and they got booed. I couldn't believe it. So brilliant. Up the Kevin Phillips, up the Noel Quinn. So come on, you Mackhams. So she says, I think this is Kaylee that's written it. She says, Hey, Britt and Andy, hope you're both well. Just wanted to drop you a line to say how much I enjoy the podcast. Thank you very much. I've been listening since the beginning, and whether I'm driving to work or running, it always provides some light entertainment. Love taking you both with me on my long runs. Andy, loving your foray into track running. Chris and I joined a running club in 2019, and the difference track has made to our progress was phenomenal. You'll be smashing through the 20-minute 5K barrier in no time. How are you finding it overall, and do you wish you'd started sooner? Yes, and yes. Also, good luck, Brett, in breaking the 10-minute barrier at the Vets League final.
Oh, thank you very much.
The year that you've had, it's definitely on. Warm-up, cool down. I used to say it as that, but now I say both, warm down and cool down. It depends on my mood, but I might try a cool up just to mix it up.
Yeah.
5K as how to approach it. It's usually flat out and hang on for me. I've tried being conservative, but it just doesn't work. It's when you do it in a 10K that you have to worry. I can't break 22:24 for a 5K, and every time I try, I get within a second of it. But I will keep chipping away. Thanks for the work, guys. The great work, guys. Hopefully, we'll catch you both at a race sometime. Yeah, I would love to see you both sometime. And I'm not sure if you guys are up at the Great North Run, but I am. So if you are, holler. And well, maybe we can have a chat before, because that's, I think, the only race I'm doing sort of north of Worcester in the next few weeks and months. But some interesting points there. First of all, the 22:24 for the 5K. Keep going, Kaylee. You never know when a PB is around the corner, do you? You just don't know. So
it's it's as I've said lots of times, it's all about consistency. And if you are plugging away and being consistent, results are going to come. So it's there. You've just got to keep on plugging away and going for it.
Yeah. So it's interesting that she said that they both, started doing their track since 2019 and that they've both made significant improvements. So that's really, encouraging for me to hear, because it's a bit stupid of me to have done it for 2 weeks and expect results.
As I say, you've got to give it at least a couple of months.
I'm going to give it at least a month.
Yeah.
So,
a couple of months and you'll start to see improvements. But if the more you do it, the more you will start to see things happening. Yeah.
And so really, really grateful for you guys for listening to us, and all the best with everything, guys, and keep up the good YouTubing, keep up the videos. So go and subscribe to Chris and Kaylee, those two runners.
Amazing.
So thanks guys. So that's my week, but your week is what everyone wants to hear about.
I don't know about that, but we'll go through it. So Saturday, I did the same as always, and I spoke to you last week and said, "Oh yeah, I'll probably go down to Parkrun, just take it easy."
Which is code for
so I ended up setting off way too quick and then just going, I'll go with it, and I ran a 17:59. That was all right. So that was pretty good, but I did have my sensible. Well, I say I had my sensible head on because I ran way too quick and obviously ran a 17:59. But whilst I was running it, in my head, I looked at the pace I was running on my watch and went, right, if I break 18 minutes, I won't run home. I'll call it there. I'll just do a mile warm down and then that's it for the day. If I don't break 18 minutes, I've got to run home. So I ran a 17:59 and went, okay. So just did a lap of the lake to finish off and then finished for the day. Because
sensible.
It was the end of my deload style week to try and sort my glute out. Which it hasn't really improved. So what's the sensible thing to do after it doesn't really improve on a type of deload week?
Just run even faster.
Yeah, just go back to full mileage. Yeah, that's exactly what I've done. So on Sunday I went out for my long run, around 14.5 miles. I think a decent amount of elevation as well, because I went through quite a hilly route. Let me just have a quick look. What did I do? 14.5 miles, average pace of 7:23 a mile, and 1,004 foot of elevation.
Nice. Decent.
So pretty decent. But yeah, it was okay. My glute felt horrendous at the start of the run, but as I started to get into it and then slowly picked up the pace, it started to loosen off a little bit and felt a little bit better. But yeah, it's just not right, and I don't think it is going to be for a while. So I'm just going to try and work through it. I have got in touch with the physio to get in for a sports massage to try and flush it out, but we'll see what happens this week. So Monday, I then did my usual run up to my shop to do a bit of work, and then my run home, nice and easy. So I ended up with a bit more than usual on Monday and did 13 mile. And then on the Tuesday was pre-race day. So I was racing on the Wednesday night at the Vets League. So Tuesday, I did my usual jog down to session and did the warm up with everyone. And then they went off and did their session. And I then had a chat with Andy, my coach, about what I should do because I'd be racing the next day. And I had in my head, I was just going to do a few 400s just to see if I could actually hit the pace that I wanted to, whether my glute would allow that for the 3,000. And he said, that was probably a good idea. And just so we went with 3 times 400 meters, and I'll give myself 400 meters recovery. As a so I was getting a full recovery after each 400 meters, just with my glute and everything. And then after that, I did 4 times 100 meters off 100 meters. So basically, those 100 meters were like strides, just to get a bit of speed into the legs. For the 3,000 meters, I wanted to hit 80-second laps. So that is 10-minute pace. So on this Tuesday pre-race, I hit a 80 for the first 400, an 81, and then a 77 for the third one. So I was pretty pleased with that. Mate. It was okay, in a good place. And then for the 100 meters, I did a 19, an 18, a 17, and a 17. So wow. All right, not bad at all. Pretty happy with that. And then I did my usual going into the gym afterwards, doing my cross trainer, and then doing my S&C. And then that was it. And it was then Wednesday night and Vets League. So it was the last meet of this year's Vets League. So the 4th meet, and it was at our home track at Abbey Stadium. So on Wednesday night, I got all my stuff ready in my bag. And because Abbey Stadium is within walking distance, I thought I'll use the walk down there to loosen everything up, and then I can do a little bit of a warm up before the race. But before I left, I covered my glute and my hamstring in Voltarol gel.
Nice.
to try and numb some of the pain, and then walked down to the track.
Sorry. Is Voltarol like an ibuprofen thing? It's like a okay.
It's a pain relief gel basically.
Okay,
so slathered that all over my glute and my hamstring, and then walked down to the track. Got there and pinned my number onto me singlet, and then went for a bit of a warm up round the outside of the track, and just did a mile, and then did some I've forgot the word again. Drills. There we go. Did some drills afterwards, and then went and got my spikes and my singlet on. But whilst I was doing that, took a couple of ibuprofen because it was 15 minutes before the race, and they would hopefully kick in by the time the race started. So basically, just dosed myself up on painkillers so I could get through the race.
So is that precautionary, or were you actually in physical discomfort 15 minutes before the race?
No, I wasn't in discomfort. I mean, I'd got my usual glute pain, and like on Tuesday when I was doing that pre-race, as I was going around the track, I was like, it just doesn't feel 100%. It's just not right. So I just didn't want any of that during the race. I just didn't want to feel any pain during the race. So yeah, just dosed up on painkillers, which is probably the wrong thing to do. But
you're pretty high as a kite.
But it was a race, and I wanted to do well. So so anyway, we got onto the track and lined up on the start line. And the 3,000 meters is 7.5 laps. So the last time I did a 3,000 meters, we set off, and I took the lead, and I did the first lap, I think, in 76, and it was quite a good pace from the start of the race. Now, this time, the start was delayed to start off with because the track judge who was there wasn't very happy that there was so many people in the same race, because at the Vets League, we have there was 3 different races going on at the same time. So there was an M35, so over 35s, an M40 over 40s, and an M50 over 50s.
Yep.
And normally, well, sometimes they would do it as 2 separate races, so there wouldn't be too many people on the track at the same time. But because it was going to get dark soon, they wanted to get the races out of the way, so they put all 3 age groups together in the same race. And normally there's not that many, but this, because it was the last race, I guess, there was loads of us, and there was 19 people on the start. And the track judge wasn't happy with 19 being in the race. So there was a bit of a delay with the start. Eventually, they decided, yes, all 19 can race at the same time. So we got on the start line, gun went off, and we set off. And I tried to get to the front again, but other people did exactly the same. And we were in a massive bunch at the front. So there was about 5 people in front of me, and then a load of people right behind me. And we set off on that first lap, and each lap there's someone with a stopwatch, and they call out your time as you go over the line to finish a lap, so you can hear what sort of pace you're on. And I thought on that first lap we'd go through, I don't know, in about 75, 76 again. But we went through that first lap and he called out 80. So we'd gone out at a much slower pace than normal. And it was crazy because there was so many people together trying to get into that lane 1. I had to take so many half steps so I didn't trip up over the person in front of me. I had to keep on moving left and right so people behind me didn't trip me up, and I didn't get barged from the side and everything. And it was a bit hairy and a bit like mad for the first couple of laps. And I was having to like check myself and like jostle for position and everything. So the first 2 laps were quite, well, they were both about 80 seconds. So we were on pace for what I wanted, but it weren't the easiest of laps to undertake. But then after the first couple of laps, it started to spread out slightly, and the first 6 of us started to pull away from the rest of the people in the race. And we carried on going, and I seemed to be on pace, but then I started to slow up a little bit, and the 5 in front of me started to just drift away, and I could see them going away, and I thought I want to go with them, but I know if I go with them now, I'll have nothing left at the end, so I need to race my own race now. So I carried on, and with a lap and a half to go, they called out, because obviously the guy calling out the lap times, because it's 7.5 laps, he's calling out the times at halfway around the track, because it's each 400 meters. So with a lap and a half left, he called out the time, and I was around 3 or 4 seconds off pace for 10 minutes. So I was like, for this last lap and a half, I need to pick up the pace here, or I'm not going to get this 10-minute time. So
By the way,
then
just quickly, are you lapping your watch manually every time you go round?
no, so I haven't
No.
looked at my watch at all.
Oh, okay. Right.
I've
Interesting.
just gone off what he's shouting as we go round each lap.
Okay.
And so I carried on at the pace I was at for the next 200 meters, and then there was a lap to go, and I was like, I need to go for this now. So pushed on, and pushed on for the next 300 meters, and then got to the 100-meter line and thought, I need to just put in as much effort as I can. And the lactic in that last 100 meters was horrendous. It was horrible. Do you know when your head is saying, come on, legs, just go. I want to go quicker now. And your legs are going, no, mate, I can't move any faster.
I'm familiar with that feeling. Yeah.
And that's what happened on that last 100 meters. I was putting all my effort into the last 100 meters. And I crossed the finish line and then stopped my watch and looked at my watch, and my watch finished on 10 minutes on the nose, dead on 10 minutes. And I was like, have I stopped my watch after the line enough that I've broke 10 minutes, or have I stopped it where the line was? So I'm actually over 10 minutes. I don't know. So then had to wait until the official times were posted up. But either way, it was a PB, because my previous PB before that was 10 minutes, 3 seconds. So I was like, okay, that's a PB no matter what. So I was well happy. And then we chatted for the rest of the night. And then eventually, before I left, went up to the results board, and they'd put up the results. And my official time in 6th place overall and 2nd place in my age group. So I could race in the M40 because I'm over 40, but Dave did our M40 race. So I actually did the over 35s race. So I was in the M35, and I came 2nd in the M35s. So 6th overall, 2nd in the M45s, which I'm pretty pleased about.
Yeah.
And I finished with a time of 9 minutes, 59 seconds, 0.5.
Yes.
So I am super, super happy. I broke 10 minutes by 0.5 of a second.
Amazing.
So yeah, I have finally broken that 10-minute barrier, and I am
love it.
Well happy. But
that is mega.
I've looked back at my Strava, and although I didn't lap my watch, because it's on track mode, it does calculate each of your laps. And it says my last 400 in that race was a 74. So
flipping hell.
So I'm quite pleased with that I managed to finish that race that quick. So yeah, very happy.
I did when I was with Mac last week. I did a 126. What's that? 96.
No, 86, 126.
86. I remember thinking, I've never run that fast in my life for that far. How on earth are you doing 74? 74, did you say?
Yeah.
At the end of a 3,000 as well. That is incredible. So how many laps of the track is 3,000 again?
It's 7.5.
7.5. That is that must have been the longest 10 minutes, or sorry, longest 9 minutes, 59.5 seconds of your life. Did it feel like it was going on forever, or did it go like that?
It was really quick, to be honest.
Yeah.
You're so involved in the race, you don't realize how much time has actually passed. You're just concentrating on getting round.
Did it occur to you until that last 100 how tired you were? Did you have time to think, oh my God, I'm really tired now?
Well, as I say, in the last few laps, it was starting to get really tough, and I was fading off the pace. As I said, I was like 3 or 4 seconds off pace.
Yeah.
With a lap and a half to go, so I knew I was tiring.
Yeah. So when you said the guy was calling out the laps, is he calling out the leading pack, or just every single person?
So if you're in a pack, he shouts out the pack time. So the person who crosses first. but then if it starts to spread out, he calls out your time or the pack that you're in. So
Okay.
the 5 that were in front of me, after the first few laps, he would call out their time, and then
Yeah.
as I'd cross, he'd call out my time.
Wow. Okay, that makes sense. So when you're at track and doing these track meets, it's all stopwatch based. It's not. Is it chip timed?
No, it's not chip timed. It's what's called laser timed on the finish line.
Oh, okay. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Proud new owner of a sub 10 3000.
Yeah.
That must
So
feel. So what did the what did the person who came first get? Do you know how close you were to?
Oh yeah, no, I think he did like a 9:30 something. So yeah, I wasn't that close, to be honest. What did he do?
Yeah.
9:34 was
Okay,
the winner.
that's quick. That is quick. Yeah.
But yeah, very happy with my performance, to be honest.
Yeah. Amazing.
So,
So a good yeah. And then have you done much running since? Any recovery or?
well, I did yesterday. I did go down to session at B&R, but I didn't do the session. I just went for a nice easy run with a couple of the guys. Went with Gav and Tom down round the lake and back. So I just did like nice easy pace running yesterday, and then did me cross trainer and S&C again. So yeah.
Do B&R normally do like a Tuesday track, Thursday session locally? On the road,
No, so at the moment, because it's summer, we're doing track Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Right. So was there a track session last night?
Yeah. So people went and did a track session.
But you and anybody else that raced did your own thing, you mean?
Yeah.
Because
so
you obviously, yeah.
So I went down, did the warm up with them, and then said I'm going to go for an easy run. And a couple of other guys went, "Oh, I'll come with you for the easy run."
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
So they did their track session whilst we went off, and I just needed some recovery. My glute was in bits yesterday, but
so do you think that Tuesday track, 24 hours previous, got you, got everything moving and got you limbered up, and you glad you did that?
Didn't do too much and just did enough to make sure in my head I knew I could hit the pace and get myself ready and loosened up, ready for the race.
Yeah, wicked. Have you made a decision about what to do at the end of this month yet?
Nah, not yet.
About your conflicting.
Yeah, I've not even thought about it, to be honest. But yeah, we'll get sorted.
Yeah. Well, I guess that takes us on to the Strava segment then, does it not?
It does indeed, yes. So, Strava segment. Have you got anything that you've seen this week on Strava?
Not really. No. One thing I am aware of that I always do that not everybody does, and I think, oh, maybe people get really annoyed about this. I almost always put photos with my run.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I do that. It's just a thing. It's like it finishes off the run for me.
Yeah.
Even if it's a selfie or something. I don't know if that annoys people. I don't know. But I almost always seem to either put a video or a photo on. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just maybe it's the content creator in me. I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's good. It adds some context to where you've been or what you've been doing, rather than just a picture of a map as if you're driving somewhere.
After all, I guess it is a sharing platform, isn't it? It is a social media. So
exactly. It's social media. Yeah.
Yeah.
I very much use Strava though as like my training diary, rather than writing it in a book. I use Strava as my training diary, so it obviously records everything that you've done. But whenever I write anything in like the in the caption, so you put a title of what the run was, but anything that I write in the caption is more to remind me of how I felt or what I was doing on that run, rather than chatting to people. Obviously in the comments you then chat to people, but I like to use it as a training diary, so I can say during this period of time my glute wasn't working very well, and I can possibly have a look then to see what I was doing to try and repair it and get it feeling better.
Do you write your lap times in the description as well?
Sometimes yes, most of the time not. I just leave it as my like workout data,
because that's a bit of a ball ache, isn't it? To go through and find those numbers and then minimize the screen and then try and find out what. Yeah.
So normally I say what the session was in the in the caption, but then all of my times and everything are just in the workout data because I'm lapping the watch. It will be there whenever I go back into that workout. So, but so let's go to the Strava leaderboard. So last week's leaderboard, our first place on distance was Steve Hartley, and he covered a distance of 75.9 miles. So that's some good going there, Steve. So great work. In second was Jack Bancroft, who covered 67.3 miles. And in third was KQ on the run, Cole Quiney.
KQ, go on, son.
Who covered 66.3 miles. And I bet every single mile he did of those 66.3 miles, his hair, there wasn't a hair out of place. Perfect.
Looked immaculate.
Yeah. Didn't have a slight bit of redness in his face. Just, like he'd been down a catwalk.
Bringing a bit of Hollywood to Wolverhampton. Good lad.
So well done to those three. Fair play for your distances this week. And then on the elevation climbing, Stephen Smith was our top in that, with covering 4,459 foot, which is some fair old elevation for a week, for 7 days.
Listen, now that's decent.
And then his second is, of course it is, it's Tommy D with 4,144 foot. And in third was Matt Dunn with 3,707. So some great numbers there from the group.
Fair play.
I was just going to see if I could see how many members we've got, but I can't actually see that. Hang on. 173 members now on our Strava group. So
that's amazing.
That's awesome. So if you aren't a member of the group, come and join us over on Strava.
Yeah, we'd love to have you. Well, we've run out of time really, but we've got some comments we were going to read. Maybe we should read them.
Yes.
And we've had an email as well that we wanted to get through, but again, we've run out of time to read that. So we will get that read, and that's
that will be first port of call next week. It's all of the comments we've missed and all of the emails we've missed. And we must apologize because we have seen them and we just get lost in the world of chatting. And we've done an hour and 50 again.
How? I don't understand. We're not even in marathon training. We haven't got anything to talk about. We're talking about the Olympics for an hour and a half. I was talking about the opening ceremony for about 25 minutes.
Yeah. So we must apologize that we haven't got round to those, but we promise they will be our first point on next week's pod. So thank you so much for listening or watching or however you consume this podcast. We really do appreciate every single one of you. And we will be back and see you next week. Cheers, guys.
See you guys. Take it easy.